I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 38. Let's focus on verse 6. So they took Jeremiah and dropped him into the cistern of Malchiah, the king's son, which was in the guard's courtyard. Lowering Jeremiah with ropes, there was no water in the cistern, only mud, and Jeremiah sank in the mud. Now, if the Lord asked today, do you want to be used by me? Most of us would answer, yes, Lord, because we generally think of earthly blessings when we think of people that the Lord uses. But what if the Lord wanted to use your suffering to send a poignant message to non-believers or to waken up the church? Well, our answers may be different in that light. You see, this is precisely Jeremiah's situation in today's chapter, and it's hard to be faithful when we're called to suffer. In such times, we must strongly rely upon God's promise of deliverance. Surely, down in that pit, Jeremiah was comforted by the words of David's Psalm 40, which says this, I waited patiently for the Lord, and he turned to me, and he heard my cry for help. He brought me up from the desolate pit, out of the muddy clay, and he set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. Perhaps Jeremiah remembered the story of Joseph and how his similar circumstance led to his brother's deliverance. Genesis chapter 37, verses 23 and 24. When Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped off his robe, the robe of many colors that he had on. They took him and they threw him into the pit. The pit was empty and there was no water in it. So the point is that we need the truth of the Bible for strength through difficult circumstances. Romans 10:17. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Jeremiah trusted the Lord, so he spoke the truth boldly. And the Lord eventually delivered him according to his word. Jeremiah 38, verses 12 and 13. Ebed-Melech, the Cushite, cried out to Jeremiah, place these old rags and clothes between your armpits and the ropes. And Jeremiah did so, and they pulled him up with ropes, and they lifted him out of the cistern. But he continued to stay in the guard's courtyard. Now later we will find that the Lord allowed Jeremiah's whole episode of faithful suffering to contrast with Zedekiah's lack of faith. Jeremiah was saved, but Zedekiah was not. Jeremiah 38, verses 21 and 22. But if you refuse to surrender, this is the word that the Lord has shown me. Now behold, all the women who are left in the king of Judah's house shall be surrendered to the king of Babylon's princes. And those women shall say, your close friends have set upon you and prevailed against you. Your feet have sunk in the mire, and they have turned away again. There's two ways that you can go. You can trust in the word of the Lord, which may lead to you suffering, but if the Lord leads you to something, he will lead you through it. Or you can follow the way of the world, which still leads to suffering with no promise of rescue. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people just like you. And yes, we do need your monthly support. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Another way to help is just tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Share these podcasts with friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.